Hello, I am going to be going live with Christina from Intentionally Healed, so I'm going to add her right now. All right. Super excited about this conversation today. We're going to be talking all about functional blood chemistry and FDN. Hello!
Hi.
It works.
Good.
How are you?
I am doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I wanted to make sure I understood, your background and like the different education that you've gone through so that I can ask you, more specific questions. I know you did FDN and then you also do functional blood chemistry. Is that right?
Right. So I started out with going through the nutritional therapy course. So I'm in,
Okay.
and then I actually started FDN and I haven't completed their big course yet.
Okay.
I'm still going through that. But I did do the functional blood chemistry. So I do that in my practice as well.
Okay. Awesome. 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 Sorry, I feel like we just jumped right into that. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and like who you serve?
So I'm Christina, and my business is Intentionally Healed, and I am a Special Forces military spouse. And my husband actually, so he's been in the military for 15 years, and he just recently retired. And we are going to be moving soon now that he's getting to the other side of retirement.
Yeah.
He's going to be going to school. So I serve the Special Forces community. And the really cool thing with that is that the Green Beret Foundation, they cover my services for the Special Forces community to work with me,
Oh my gosh.
which is really cool to have that relationship. And it takes the financial burden off of the families to be able to help get the help that they need without that financial burden.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my
I find
gosh. How long have you been in practice?
about a year and a half.
Okay. Awesome. That is amazing. So I am located in Virginia Beach. So huge military population here. And especially special forces too with the Navy SEALs here. So I am friends with multiple people, multiple spouses of SEALs specifically. I don't know any Green Berets personally, but
Yeah.
wow,
But they
that
all
is, you are doing amazing work. That is so needed.
Yeah, so they all fall under, it gets really complicated, but they all fall under the branch of special operations.
Yeah.
But each military branch has its own elite forces. So with the Army, it's the Green Berets. With the Navy, it's the Navy SEALs. And so it does get complicated though to try and keep them all separated.
Yeah. So how are you, I mean, so what types of things are you doing with them? Is it one-on-one services or like group program? Like how do you work with them right now?
So right now I do a lot of one-on-one work with spouses and I do work with the Green Berets as well. And then I also do restart classes so that I can do them group classes if that's what's needed, just to really meet them where they're at, just to help. Sometimes we need to dig in a little bit deeper. Sometimes we're just touching the surface and just getting toes dipped into the holistic side.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting. I wonder how are you received in that community?
Pretty well, actually. A lot of people, I think that they're looking for something different and
Yeah.
something where they're meeting with a practitioner that is meeting them where they're at with a goal of what we have in mind of where we want to get them.
Okay. Awesome. So how, let me ask you about, I mean, since we are test don't guess, and I'm just big into talking about all these different labs, it's like my favorite topic in the whole world, like
Yeah.
how people are using these labs, like what they're using first. I just like to know, so you're in FDN right now, but you haven't finished it. So do you have access to those tests through FDN yet or no?
No, I've run them on myself though, so I've been able to do that. I just had to pause because this lifestyle is very fast paced and chaotic, and just a lot of things were coming at me at once. And this is something that I practice and tell in this community, is that sometimes we have to drop things and pause and come back
Absolutely.
to it. And this was something that I had to drop, pause, and I'm going to come back to it. The
Mm,
course I will finish when I get to it.
of
um,
course.
I do the functional blood chemistry because I feel like that is so important to have, just because I like testing to see what else is going on. Where can we dig deeper? Where are the specifics? And that does align with the nutritional assessment. So it's great to be able to use them together and to see like, okay, this is what we're seeing with the nutritional assessment, but functional blood chemistry shows like, oh, if there's H. pylori present and things like that, that you wouldn't see on the nutritional assessment.
Right, right. So did you go through Michael Rutherford's course or did you do a different course for blood
I
chem?
I did it through FDN.
Oh, you did it through FDN. So it's like a separate thing through them, right?
Yes. So with the FDN course, they have their big main course where you learn about GI mapping, you do the saliva stress hormone testing, you can do the MRT test through their big course. So then after that, what they offer are, you can either do, so they're now calling that level 1. So over this last year, they've also made a lot of changes to the course that are fantastic for people in this field, because they have the big course, they call that level 1. Well, once you get past level 1, you can buy them in a package as levels 2 and 3 if you wanted to. And each level that you do is getting you closer to sit for the board exams.
Ah, which board exam, do you know?
I'm going to say it wrong because I can't remember exactly which one it is. It's one of the, I just packed away all the information. I'm not going to say it because I don't remember exactly which one it is. But
Okay.
regardless, like, so if you want to sit for like the holistic board exams, I think it's the NANP.
Yep.
It prepares you for that, because if you buy them in the package and you do it over the summertime, it also gives you clinical hours.
Ah, okay.
So it's very helpful to do it that way. Otherwise, if you don't want to do it that way, you can pick which ones work best for you in your practice. And that's why I opted to do the functional blood chemistry, so I could just get started with that sooner.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about that aspect of the program because I'm personally in Michael Rutherford's blood chemistry. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm in his course right now and it's really, really amazing. And I've talked to people who've gone through like Restorative Wellness's blood chemistry, which is level 3. So you have to have done multiple of the other restorative wellness to get into that one. And I've just been dying to hear about the FDN one. So how long was it? What were some big things that you learned?
So with the FDN courses, they are all self-paced.
Okay.
So you have, for the big course, you have a year, but they're all self-paced. So you can kind of do them at your leisure when it works best for you. And that's really what I need in my life right now,
Yeah.
is just when I can hop on and have a little bit of time to be able to sit down and do them.
Yeah.
What I really liked about the FDN course, with it being self-paced, is that I always have the information to go back to. It coincides with the nutritional assessment and Dick Weatherby's what is it, the ODX that he.
Yeah. Okay.
So I use that software when I'm working with people. So every lab, all the labs that I get, I run it through that software and that functional perspective.
Awesome.
The FDN course really is built off of that.
Got it. Okay. So they like paired with Dick and Weatherby on this?
I don't know if I don't think it's that they actually like
Like,
paired it,
okay.
but it's their foundations are built off of that. And so everything that I've learned works with that software, which is great because it's, he has the book that you can go back and refer to. And so I just utilize all that information in the way that it works with everything that I learned through the Nutritional Therapy Association.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So I'm like personally very interested in that ODX software
Yeah.
because of my HTMA app that I built,
Yes.
that like helps people analyze that data. And that ODX, like we've actually gotten the reports from our functional medicine doctor, like on our blood work, and it is fascinating. He gives
Yeah.
so much information. That's like next level, or more than just next level for
Yeah.
me. That's like huge.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So it really made everything clear for you of like what you're looking for in the lab data and then what to do with that data to help the person move forward.
Right. And so much of what I work with and work on with my clients is chronic stress related because this lifestyle is so fast paced that there are so many spouses that need help and even green berets that need help and even their families. So like moms and dads. I've worked with many mothers of those in special operations and it just gives details that we don't otherwise get. So looking at immune function, looking for bacteria, looking for, I've even had it show where people have had pituitary dysfunction and things like that, and where it's like, okay, well, I need to refer you out at this point, like because there are things that are outside my scope of practice. But when we're seeing it there in this, we're looking at the optimal levels. We're looking at the ranges that are just a little bit tighter because I don't want my clients to be sitting in normal ranges from the labs. I want them to be at optimal where their bodies are functioning the absolute best that it can.
Yeah.
And through the lab work, that helps get us there. That helps point us in the direction of like, where do we need to go? And it helps point for specific digestive dysfunction.
Do you feel like you're using that a lot, specifically the digestive piece?
I do. I do a lot. I mean, it's because it's helping with when you see on the NAC where people are having just upper GI issues. And it's like, well, where is the dysfunction in upper GI? And
Mm.
often I'm seeing that there's H. pylori present.
Okay. Where do you think, I mean, I know it's pretty rampant, a lot of people have it, but do you think it's more in the military community because of like maybe their travels and all of that?
Oh yeah, and with how easily H. pylori spreads,
Yeah,
and then the places that they're going across the globe and the things that they're exposed to,
yeah.
not surprising to me that I'm finding it a lot.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do when you find H. pylori? Are you basically getting them on like a like antifungal protocol at that point?
Yeah, and definitely like using biofilm buster. Well, so specifically targeting the H. pylori, but I'm always very clear with each of my clients when we're getting into the specifics like this that it's definitely like an opt-in self-care model. And
Mm.
that is one of the things that FDN is big on when we're looking at the testing is that it's opt-in self-care.
What
So
do you mean by that? I'm not familiar with that term.
so opt-in self-care is I'm not treating, but I'm helping you self-treat.
Got it. Okay. Very
And
good.
yeah, so everything that I do, like my clients are on board. They know the details. They have a say in what is doable for them, what's not. I tell them how I've prioritized things based off of the information that's been given from the NAC and from the functional blood chemistry reports. And then we move from there. So, like when we're looking at H. pylori, it's something that definitely needs addressed.
Yeah.
And so we look at the antifungals, we look at, I use a lot of biomatrix with that.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that brand.
So FDN uses a lot of biomatrix. We use biocidin as a biofilm buster.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I am familiar with biocidin.
Yeah,
Okay.
we use biocidin as a biofilm buster, just
Got it.
when we're looking at like the deeper GI issues as well.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And so with being able to understand that information from the blood chemistry, do you feel like you would need to run a gut test on them too? Are there any circumstances that have come up where you've thought, hey, I kind of need a gut test too?
I think it would depend on the person and what's like showing up because there are definitely cases where it's like, okay, I would feel that we would definitely need it. But then there's cases where it's like, if that's the only thing that's really popping up as like the major issue, then probably not.
Yeah.
Case by case basis. I mean, because I feel like we should test more and see what else is there, but also not everyone that I work with, it has to be budget friendly as well.
Yeah, always important. Some of these tests can get so, so expensive. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I've heard about FDN. Like FDN has always been the biggest program on my like radar. Like I'm on their email list where I'm like, that is so interesting to me to learn all of them. And but then I've heard from some people through FDN that they basically recommend running like a ton of different tests for your clients to begin with. And so I've personally been a little bit back and forth on if that's the right fit for me because I want to know all of these tests. I want to feel confident making protocols off of all these tests, but I don't want to feel the need to have to run all of them all the time. What do you have you found that to be the case?
Right. So they want you to run roughly 5 different tests that they have. Like so that is how their big program is set up.
Mhm.
It is to run 5 tests and they will really like hone in on that. But at the end of the day, I still feel like it's your individual practice
Yeah,
and you have to meet the needs of your clientele. And while I am 100% like, we need to test to
yeah,
really so that we're not guessing on things, but there's a limit to what people can do. And sometimes it's just peeling back layers over time. And so it's at the end of the day, even in FDN, they will tell you that you have to work where your client's at.
yeah. And it doesn't make sense to do a lot of the tests if the person's coming to you like on a very standard American diet and there's all these things that you know you can work with before doing the testing, right?
Right, right. So it's meeting them where they're at, where if they're coming from the standard American diet, then that is enough work in and of itself.
Yeah. Like we don't
And
need to be testing to know that you need to be eating whole foods.
right, right. And so, and then it's like, okay, next step really could just be the knack. Let's see where there are issues that you could get a little more specific and
Yeah.
doing the blood work because blood work is not, depending, is not as expensive. It can often be covered by health insurance, especially for
Yeah.
work with, it's covered by TRICARE.
Nice.
And so my clients generally don't have to pay for it because they can go to their primary care provider and get it done for free because TRICARE covers it, which was
Yeah.
why I kind of paused on the big course and was like, this is the thing that I need to do because I can make the biggest impact for them with this right now.
Yeah. Good for you for noticing that and like really honing in on that with your clients. That's really great. Um, are you asking their doctors to run specific markers for you, or is it just, are you just using like the CBC, the stuff that they typically run?
So I do the stuff that they typically run, and then I'll often ask for magnesium just to see where they're at with that.
Mhm.
Because my clientele are, they're all living in a
So
state of
stressed.
chronic stress.
Yeah.
So, like, where are your magnesium levels at? Like, is this something we need to be concerned about? Like, are you getting quickly depleted? Sometimes I'll ask for your B6, your B12. Sometimes I'll ask for a full thyroid, and no one's had any trouble getting those from their primary care providers.
Great. Do you just tell them what to ask for, or do you have like a form? I've just seen a lot of talk and chatter about this lately of like, yes, it would be really nice to be able to ask these doctors to run things for us, but sometimes there is some pushback. So I'm trying to figure out how practitioners that are using it and it working are doing it, you know?
I have my clients have not had any pushback with it.
Okay.
I don't
Awesome.
know how it is for other people. But I don't have any forms, but they can also, I mean, I've never had anyone reach out to me, but that's always an option.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, that is amazing what you're doing. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I was wanting to go over with you today, but was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, I just want everyone to know that, like, so there's a lot of practitioners on here watching this that with the FDN course, like, you can, I think it's great that you can choose to do levels 1, 2, and 3 because that sets you up for everything that you need to know to sit for the board exams.
Yeah.
So if that is your ultimate goal, this is something to consider. But that if you're not, you can go to their courses and pick and choose what fits specifically for you. Because if you are big into working on hormones, you can take their test that
Mm,
covers the Dutch test that you
mm-hmm.
course and do that
Okay.
as well. But I really focus on the functional blood chemistry because that's the one that my clients will have the easiest access to. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, at the end of the day, meeting people where they're at, especially within the military community, is so important. Um, but the testing has been the biggest change that has helped with some specific things, because sometimes we can work off of the nutritional assessment that we get through the NTA, and that gives us a lot of information, but it's still missing a lot of details that are so important for us to have.
Yeah. Now, it's really unique that you went through the NTA and you're doing FDN. Um, do you think that somebody needs to go through something like the NTA before going through FDN? Or could you just do FDN, you think?
So you could do just FDN, but I would recommend not going that way, because
Okay.
going through the NTA first gives you this solid foundation on all things nutrition related. Whereas FDN gives you the other side of it, where it's like it is nutrition related, but you're taking all these tests that you can combine with that to get specific of healing the digestive system and all that dysfunction that most people have.
Mm-hmm.
So utilizing both is the best way, I feel, if somebody can do that, because you don't get as much information on nutrition in the FDN course.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I loved the NTA program. That
That
made everything so clear for me with all of the information I had um, before going through the NTA. I pretty much was just a podcast junkie.
okay.
And I just listened to everything. And it was like the NTA put everything into the format that I needed to
Yep.
understand how this actually works. And
Yeah.
so I just love that about the program. And I just couldn't speak more highly of it.
Yeah.
When did you say you graduated from the NTA?
So it was 2019 in July, kind of think about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you in one of the ones where you had to be in person?
No, thankfully, because was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019, because in 2020, yeah. Sorry, everything. As a military spouse, I'll tell you guys, everything blends together.
Yeah. Where are
I
you located, by the way?
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay.
We're actually moving to Wisconsin in 2 months ish.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So you were in like one of those first rounds of it not being in person. You did the online
Yeah.
version. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you so, so much. This has been incredibly enlightening. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I didn't see any questions come through. So I think we're good unless you have anything else you wanted to talk about. This was just so wonderful.
Nope, that's it. I mean, just I'm here to help the military community in the best way that I can. I started this because there was a gap in care for spouses. So that's the thing, is that for military, especially in special operations, special forces, they focus so much on the soldier that the spouses aren't recognized as having the amount of stress that they have. And so I saw, as I was going through the NTA course, I just saw spouse after spouse dealing with burnout, to the point where panic attacks were happening, and spouses were saying like that they almost had to call ambulances to come help them because the panic attack was so bad and they didn't know
Mm,
what to do. And it was just from the stress and the buildup of this lifestyle. And so Intentionally Healed just spoke to me through our own story of me dealing with injuries and illness with my husband and helping him deal with his ulcerative colitis. And that's just what led me down this path to be able to give back to the community and be a resource for spouses and soldiers that are needing help.
yeah, that's amazing. Do you happen to know any other NTPs or FDNs that are in the same niche that you're in, or that are also military spouses?
I do not.
It would be, I mean, if anybody's
I'm,
watching this, you guys should connect, because I
yeah.
think that that's huge that TRICARE will cover, that you figured out this way of
Oh, yeah. TRICARE doesn't cover working with me specifically, but they cover the lab work.
Right, right, right. Okay.
I just wanted to be, because I didn't want anyone watching this to think that TRICARE covers me when they don't. So, but if they are a special forces family, whether you are active duty, National Guard, retired, veteran, spouse, they will cut, or family member, like if it's for a child, the grant,
Hmm.
and they can reach out for health and wellness support and they'll cover the cost to work with me.
Got it. Okay. So I think that, I mean, that's really interesting for anybody who's potentially going through the NTP program or the FDN program, to know for their own businesses too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, would you be open to connecting with other military spouses in this community too?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll put a little note at the bottom that says if people are wanting to reach out to you, to definitely do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, thank you. I am so grateful. It's so fun to do these chats and just learn from people because we all have our own approach. We've all been drawn towards these different ways of learning these labs. And I just feel like we can learn so much from each other and just continue to grow this community because I think testing, not guessing, is so important, and doing it in the correct way and using proper education to get there. These are all the things that I'm just trying to further in this community and make sure that everybody has the resources that they need to make the best decisions for their own practice of what that next step of continuing education looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye bye.